Hi there, welcome back to another week of shows. This is going to be 5 videos for a change rather than just 4. They're going to be shorter videos. I don't think I'm going to be as epic as some of the other weeks are, so there's 5 rather than 4. I should point out before we start, I guested on Touch of Film's podcast on Friday night. It was all about the 80s, best films of the 80s. I'll leave a link down below to where it is if you want to see it. It was a good time. Touch of Film Hoos hosted it. Dion Wynn was the other guy running it, and it was great fun. I think we had a good time, and it was like 4 hours long, so it's quite epic. If you want to watch it, it's epic. So that's me, told you about that, and now we're going on to the subjects. The first subject I'm going to talk about is special effects as the film formats, the film projection formats get better. How does it affect special effects? It's just something that that occurs all the time. This has occurred since the 1920s. As it's got better, as films get better, certain techniques suddenly look out of place. Like there were certain tricks that you could do in black and white film that you could never do in colour because colour showed up the trick. Then they learned new techniques for colour. Sometimes they looked better, sometimes they didn't. But they found a way around it. Then as the film projection got faster, the film got faster. Because before, when it first started, film needed a lot of light. So you could actually have, you'd have to have lots of lights on it, and you could hide things in darkness, and you could be very clever with effects that way. And then with faster films, certain effects techniques that worked fine, like in makeup, suddenly looked fake because faster film meant you could see more detail, which meant you could see the trick. So they had to change with the times. And that's always been happening throughout history. But in like film fandom now, it's almost like it's a new thing. They haven't worked it out. Like now there's a big backlash. Like, oh no, the Star Wars prequels look really cheap and cheesy now because we see them in 4K that you can see their age. It's like, well, that's always been the way. If you're actually a film fan, you've looked at effects at any time in history, that's always happened. It's the same way in computer games when it goes from PS1 to PS2 to PS2 to PS3. What originally looked great looks bad in comparison. The reality is, part of it is you invest some suspension of disbelief in the image, so you are allowed to say, okay, I'm going to go along with this even though I know it's fake. But also the fact is, just the technology that's projecting it is better, and it actually projects things that people did not want you to see when they made the film. Like any film was made for the peak technology of the time it's been made. Like any film ever, it's like, what can we get away with? How high definition are we? How does black and white work in the 20s and 30s? What can we hide in shadow? Can we hide this bit of makeup here? There's like, you see the crease, so we'll have a light down here so you don't see the crease and don't move or anything like that. There's tons of things that you always have that to save the image, and now when you see the films much years later, a lot of time you can see the joined a little bit, but you just go with it. There's lots of things in films that you know some of the tricks, like everyone knows about flame bars along the bottom of the ground in front of the camera, between the camera and the person, to make it look like there's lots of flames when in fact they're nowhere near the flames. There's stuff like that everyone knows about. But nowadays there's now a new switch from 2K to 4K, and then eventually go to 8K, which makes everything look really bad as well. What's really happening is, when CGI first came in, it replaced model work. Model work was in place for decades. There was matte paintings in old-fashioned style. Then they went to model work, and it was really kind of worked out properly with Kubrick in 2001, how to shoot them in slow motion, to create weight, to make the models look better, so they don't look like little toys and things like that. How you light them to make them look better. Nowadays when you see these films in high def, sometimes you can see the models very clearly because the high definition reveals the wires. The high definition makes the shading different from what it was originally when it was projected. So what the cameraman did has not been supported by the new technology. The new technology is too good and it shows the trick, basically. And that's something you just have to get used to. I mean, Ray Harryhausen films do not look as good as they used to because they were matte paintings and they were rear projections, and there's two levels of reality always in this one image. And those matte lines and things, so you can't get used to that. And then when the things that projected it, the actual projectors and the TV screens got better, you could see the joins a lot easier. When they made the original Star Wars, there was lots of matte lines that you never saw because of the projections. Projection wasn't that high def then, so when they went up to in the early 90s, when they were released them in video, it was like you can see the matte lines a lot worse now. This is like 10 years. We have to go in and sort it and get rid of these matte lines and stuff like that. And then they did other special editions where they went in and added some CGI to it and things like that. So it's always been an evolution of technology. And basically, when we come to the Star Wars prequels, I'm pretty sure George Lucas still ran Lucasfilm. By the time you hit 4K, he'd have redone a lot of the effects and just added some grain to them or something just to make them fit in with the world a bit more so they didn't stand out. Because one of the big problems you have, really, is hard definition is it's brighter, you get more colours, like all the details like in clothes and faces are shown a lot more detailed, which looks great. But the more fakery thing in the background is a bit more fake, like a CGI ship. It was never meant to be that. You're never meant to see it that close, and you're meant to have a lot of shadows around it, because shadows hide a lot of things. I mean, that's the thing about making monster movies, is hide them in shadows so you don't see the zip. Hide them in shadows so you don't see the bit of the model that's already been broken because you've used it for like 20 times already in a shot, and you have to hide the fact that things broke, you can't replace it anymore because you're running out of money. Things like that are part of filmmaking. But when you're into high def, they get just projected, you can see the little thing that you should never have seen. Like when I first went to Blu-ray, one of the first films I saw was Highlander. Because it was one I bought with the machine just to have a Blu-ray disc, and you can see all the wires. When I saw it, I was like, this feels weird watching this because you can't see the wires. It's like it's projection's too good for the film. So that was a problem. You know, that's become a problem for older films that you can, if they haven't been careful, you see the trick. And it's going to continue again and again. I mean, it's really going to continue because we will go to 8K eventually, and all these films that now look pretty good are going to look fake in 8K. They just are. You're just going to have to twist your mind around that and just say, it's a stylization. That's all it's going to be. We just have to accept it. I was okay with that because even in the 90s and 2000s, I always thought CGI did not look perfect. I always thought it looked kind of... It was a stylization that filmmakers did, the same in model work, the same in matte work. It's like there was inherent limitations to what they could do with it. With model work, they could only do so much. A lot of it was editing, a lot of it was lighting. And you couldn't have the models do that much. And the part of the joy was to watch how they were inventive with what they could do. Some of the joy of makeup art is to see what the actors and director could do within the limitations, because a lot of time the actors couldn't see, so they were walking around a set where they really see, with try actors if they could see. Then somebody would add like stop motion to things to make a makeup look more interesting so they could do some action. And now that looks really fake when he jumps from makeup to action, like stop motion. It always looks a bit off, but it doesn't matter, it's a stylization, like who cares? You know, things like that happen all the time in fantasy cinema. The trick's always going to get shown up pretty quickly, and you just kind of have to accept that. I mean, the thing that actually looks best now is the films that didn't use obvious tricks, the films that used lighting and practical locations, they all look gorgeous now because you can just see that the actors in the location, they just look gorgeous. Even when you don't have the greatest print, like I saw Legends of the Mountain yesterday, and I didn't have the greatest print, but you can see so much detail there because they were using mostly practical effects and photography. It was old fashioned, so it didn't really age that badly. Something, even like Kong Skull Island, which looks still pretty good in 4K. It looks gorgeous with all the colours, but some of the effects already look a bit aged because it was designed for 2K, because so much of CGI was designed for 2K, because 2K which 1080p, was the big thing, was the standard for so long. It was the thing that the effects would be processed at. And because it was SD until like 2008, 2009, like for mass production, you had a decade where the effects were actually higher than the DVDs were projected on. So it didn't matter. They just looked good. They looked great for what it was. All the detail, even when scanned down, looked really good. Then when you go to 1080p with Blu-ray, you can see some effects that look quite so good, especially in some of the early effects. And now you get to like 4K, which you've upgraded, and effects look too shiny because the colours have been pumped up because of HDR. Colours are pumped up in a way that were never designed to. And a lot of the CGI just looks weightless and models, and it just doesn't look right. And they have to kind of figure it out. Most films that actually have done a lot less CGI now look better. Even modern films look better, but you don't use that much CGI. If you use a lot of CGI, you're going to look bad. If you use CGI subtly and mixed with other practical stunts, you're going to look a lot better. But it looks bad if you just use CGI. I mean, there's some like 90s films that still look really good, like Jurassic Park or Starship Troopers, because they use a lot of CGI, but they were also using a lot of models, and they were integrating model work with CGI to make the models look good, but do things they couldn't do just with practical models. Like Starship Troopers has used a lot of models for spaceships. The spaceships still look really good, a bit stylised. They use these practical and CGI for the bugs, so they've got a weight to it that actually is different from what you get just by pure CGI. The same in Jurassic Park, they used a lot of big hydraulics to do the dinosaur effect, and they just use CGI for certain things. So they had to spend their money wisely and be careful with it, and so now those films look good. Meanwhile, the Star Wars prequels really invested in CGI because you kind of needed all that to actually do the film, because there was no way you could do it all practically. Now they look a lot worse, and it's now one of the things that it's begging for like a spruce up. Like, it's because it's Disney, they're not going to invest in the money the way Lucas would have to go back in and actually just spruce up the CGI a little bit and actually add some dirt to it to go against the effects of everything brighter. So everything's brighter, so suddenly you can see everything's too shiny for the location that they're in. So everything clashes against each other and they look much more like toys, like shiny toys rather than something with dimension. So I'm sure he would have gone and fixed that, because he liked to tinker with his films as they went upgraded. I'm sure he even thought of that a little bit, but he was actually famous for saying 2K is the highest they're ever going to go for home entertainment. He never saw 4K coming as a streaming service thing, because it was when the films were made in 2000, they couldn't even get streaming right. Streaming was the big dream that wasn't working, and even like they were still just starting DVD at that point. I mean, Blu-ray was not even a dream of anybody at that point. So when they made those films, it was logical for them to say, "That's will be fine for a long time. Don't worry about it." Now, 20 years later, which is much longer than it was between when him fixing matte lines and The Empire Strikes Back, it looks much worse. And I'm pretty sure he'd have fixed that stuff, but he's not there, so he can't. So they're just left up projected, and it's like, I can see the joins. So that's a problem that Star Wars has with some of them. But even I was looking at I looked a little bit on Disney Channel, the Rise of Skywalker start. Some of it looks gorgeous with when you've got lighting, but then you go to a CGI bit and it's like, well, it looks better than what the prequels do. But when you go to like 8K, this will look pretty dodgy too, because it does not look that realistic even now. So, because I mean, a lot of CGI are still at the 2K level, and you have to kind of increase that now. Otherwise, they're going to have a wave of films that look fake, that look really fake, as they're just getting released. You know, you really need to upscale a bit now and be more ambitious with the effects. But I mean, I do remember, like, even like matte paint and stuff. I remember in DVD when Evil Dead was a bit of a moon being bloodied over, and that was a matte shot put onto the frame and cut out. I mean, you can see it in DVD, you can actually see the matte lines, and it just looked so fake. And they actually sought it for by using CGI for the Blu-ray, but even the DVD, you could see some things that made stuff look fake. Other things actually are like the way Harryhausen films have advanced a lot better because of basically Blu-ray, because they managed to restore it, make it even brighter, and give the image more depth, which actually makes the monsters, because the way Ray Harryhausen shot them with good lighting, the monsters feel more integrated into the film now than they did before when it was just lower technology. Because in some older techniques, sometimes it actually works better if you actually upscale it. With CGI, it does not look good. But that's just the way it goes. You just have to advance plan as much as you can and realise if you're doing a heavy effects film, eventually it's going to look fake, and then the fakeness is going to be endearing after a while. I mean, at a certain point, people will find a lot of the CGI stuff endearing. It'll be nostalgia for them, while other people will be looking and going, these are crap looking. You know, it's just, that's the way human beings go. I mean, how many people love 70s films with very dodgy effects, you know, starring Charlton Heston. There are plenty of Charlton Heston films from the 70s that are really cheesy, but we kind of love them, even though they are cheese fest. I did Damnation Alley last week, terrible special effects, but you can still watch it. I'm sure some of them didn't look that bad on release. There's one or two I'm pretty sure did look that bad on release. And there's also the projection of suspension of disbelief, you know, is always there. But you just have to be kind of careful with it and understand that technology moves on, and what was once new looks old after a while, and it's just, you just have to accept that as part of the way cinema moves on. Eventually we're going to hit a peak where you can't upscale it anymore. I mean, I don't see, I mean, I think when you get to 8K you're pretty much getting close to all the camera can do, even using like IMAX cameras and things. I don't think you can go much higher, really, before everything in the back catalogue looks fake, even if photography ones. So we're entering an interesting time. We'll see how it develops, but I thought the CGI thing was a good way to talk a lot about how as technology advances, how we're making a lot of old work suddenly obsolete because you can't watch them because they just look old and fake. You know, is that what's going to happen? I hope it doesn't. I mean, I hope we find a way around it, and just probably the best thing is subtle touching up and careful restoration. It's probably the best way, because you can restore a lot of films with taste. You just have to have taste doing it and don't rush it out. I think a lot of smaller films, like the Hammer films, do better because the people who restore them love them. And something like a Star Wars movie, it's just Disney doing it. They don't care as much. It's a cash cow to them. It's not a passion project. So I think, even though some of that an old Hammer film or Pearl Pressburger film, they want to make money on it, but they also want to do it good to actually sell it onto the fans who will buy it, who love it. You kind of have to have that with any film that had an impact. You know, you have to be very careful. You have to actually look at the CGI, if it's heavy CGI, and say, how do we protect this? How do we not make this look really fake? Is there a way to put someone over it that means maybe you're not going to colours popping as much as you should, just to protect the image a bit more within the new parameters of a new high definition that makes it pop even more. You're going to have to try something with it, because it just at the moment, it looks bad. It looks like a whole 20 years worth of work now looks pretty cheap and tinky. I mean, it's fine if you're a fan of like art house cinema or foreign films who don't use that much CGI, or like cheesy CGI like I do, but for the mainstream fans who will not suspend their disbelief that much, you're losing a lot of films to looking cheap. You know, even modern films that start to look cheap. Even in cinema, some of them look cheap. I mean, I watched the spin in Rise of Skywalker and it still didn't look that good. CGI has kind of been overdone, and I think it's hitting a tipping point where you have to try and find something else, because unless you find a new way to do it, to upscale it to make it much clearer, much more detailed, and all the man-hours it will take to do that, you're going to have some technology that feels a bit obsolete in a 4K 8K world. It just feels like it's cheap model work would be in the 60s and 70s. It'd be like, you don't really want to do that, do you? Really? That's a bit old fashioned. You know, that's where CGI is going at the moment. So I hope you enjoyed the video. It's a bit of a rambling one, but I thought I'd talk about this area because it is kind of interesting to me to see where this is going to go. Right, bye for now, I'll see you later.